Great. Hello, everybody, and welcome to UNRWA USA's 21st episode of Let's Talk UNRWA. And today we're really happy to be hearing about the latest UNRWA developments in Gaza from the agency's field director there, Mr. Thomas White himself. And of course, I'm Mara Cronenfeld, the executive director of UNRWA USA and your host for this episode. It's a pleasure to be with you all, and particularly meaningful for me as I've just gotten back from Gaza myself. And I'm also very much interested in hearing Thomas White's comments today. Let's Talk UNRWA is a monthly speaker series that's live streamed on UNRWA USA's Facebook and YouTube channels and meant to provide all of you with an insider view of UNRWA's work. It is also a unique opportunity for you to hear directly from UNRWA's field staff. As I mentioned, today we are speaking with Mr. Thomas White, UNRWA's Director of Affairs in Gaza. Thomas has extensive experience managing humanitarian, peace, and development programs in complex environments, including Rwanda, East Timor, Lebanon, Iraq, Palestine, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, and of course, Gaza. Today, Thomas will be talking to us about the latest updates in Gaza, UNRWA's challenges in the Strip, and how you, the American people, can better support Palestine refugees. Because Tom's schedule is quite packed, he's sharing information about the conditions on the ground in Gaza with elected officials, with civil society in his trip here. We just have a short, really impactful 20 minutes with him here today. Thomas, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and thank you for all the work you do for Palestine refugees. And we're going to get started in our discussion.
Thanks very much for the introduction, Mara. It's great to join you and great to join all of the supporters for UNRWA USA.
Thank you. Thank you. So you joined UNRWA's leadership in August 2021, and this was really a pivotal moment a few months after the most recent large-scale Israeli military assault and amid the global pandemic, COVID. But your connection to the agency started back in February 2005, we understand, as an UNRWA humanitarian program manager in Jerusalem. Tell us how the past years impacted the agency's operations and the refugees it serves.
Look, firstly, I'd like to say, I'm very pleased to be rejoining UNRWA. UNRWA has a very special place in my heart. I've worked in the West Bank with refugees there for a number of years, including being the deputy director there. I've now, having joined UNRWA in Gaza, it's great to see how over the sort of 10 years I've had away from UNRWA, that the agency's work has continued to progress. I'm enormously proud of the work that our team are undertaking in Gaza, and that's about 13,500 staff who are really delivering some first-class healthcare in Gaza through our clinics. We'll provide about 4 million consultations a year, and I can really say that I would not hesitate to be going to one of our clinics and seeing one of our doctors or one of the nursing teams to look after your health. And the other really inspiring part of coming back to UNRWA and really seeing UNRWA progressing is the way that we're delivering education for just under 300,000 students in Gaza. We've got a really wonderful group of teachers, about 10,000 teachers. They are, and really, the thing that gets me in Gaza is there are these huge contrasts. You can be walking through one of the camps, and life is really very difficult for families there, and children are coming from very, very poor, underprivileged backgrounds because of, not of their choosing, because of the socioeconomic situation. Yet you emerge through the alleyways of the camp, and then there's their UNRWA school. And really it is a beacon of, hope, a beacon of, education, but it also enables children to be children. I mean, they're getting an education, but we're also trying to run extracurricular activities, arts, craft, music, so that they really have a well-rounded education. So it's great to be back with UNRWA. And of course, the challenges remain. I mean, the economic situation, the ongoing conflict in Gaza makes life exceptionally difficult for Gazans. But the one thing that has been a constant in their life is, being able to access good quality medical care, the opportunity for kids to go to such a positive learning environment. And, I'm enormously proud of our team who are delivering all those services.
I just having been there, I witnessed myself the refuge that the UNRWA school represents, and just seeing that happy place that kids are allowed to, really escape some of the challenges that they face in the Strip, and find a place where they can be kids and also be able to access that top-notch education you mentioned. So just to kind of pull back for a second, we always like to remind our listeners that UNRWA in Gaza serves over 1.6 million refugees, and that is some 60% of the population. And as you just mentioned, Thomas, some 13,000 plus employees that work at UNRWA. Keeping in mind the blockade, the pandemic, the frequent Israeli military assaults that have happened over the last decade and a half, what would you say are the top challenges UNRWA is facing right now when trying to maintain delivery of those education, those food distribution programs, the health, the delivery of that excellent healthcare you described?
Look, I'd respond in this way. I think that any educator or any healthcare professional would say, it's a tough job to get high quality services to people. It's doubly difficult, triply difficult in Gaza because people are living literally a subsistence in terms of their ability to provide for their families. People are just keeping their heads above water. And that has, an impact in a wide range of areas. For example, I was in Deir Bella camp about 2 or 3 weeks ago, speaking to the family health nurse there. They now have, for under 10-year-old girls, a 60% rate of anemia. That should be in single digits, and that's because of the grinding poverty that's been imposed by this sort of social blockade. And that's being felt. The social and the economic blockade is really having a major impact, particularly on the economy and then the lives and the livelihoods of families across Gaza. And of course, their reliance upon us grows, when they don't have the resources necessarily to support their family. We should not be providing food assistance to 1.1 million people. Gazans are tremendously resilient, entrepreneurial. Nobody in Gaza is saying to me, Tom, just give me more. What they say to me, what they say to our staff is, we want a job. Gazans want to work. But the harsh reality is that we're providing a food operation to support 50% of the calorific needs of 1.1 million Palestine refugees. The other aspect and the other big challenge has been these rounds of conflicts. May was probably the fourth of major escalations that we've seen in the last 15 years. And I'll address 2 areas there, that really affect the lives of Palestine refugees. One is we're working through the process now of repairing and rebuilding houses. To date, we have repaired over 7,000 houses. These are the homes of Gazans that were damaged or destroyed during the May conflict. And we all understand how important a home is. And so a major focus has been to try and support those families rebuild their homes. The other aspect I'd like to highlight is something that, you cannot necessarily see now, and that is the mental health of the population, and particularly for children. We've got alarming rates of children who require some sort of psychosocial support. Now, either that's because of the conflict or because of the the broader socio-economic impacts of the blockade. But post-May, it's assessed that over 600,000 children require some form of mental health support. Now, what's really concerning is that, and I know this will be of interest to your members because we really appreciate your support on the issue of children's mental health, is that after the May conflict, our psychologists did a study for the grade 1 students, and 27% of the students are exhibiting severe trauma as a result of that conflict. And this requires an intensive work with these young people, and that's, I would say, is the other really devastating impact of the conflict, and something that we're really trying to work with families and with young people on, in terms of helping them cope with the psychological impact.
Yeah, and speaking about the psychological impact on young people and the kind of interventions that are needed, my understanding from talking to you and talking to your staff members on the ground at Jabalia Girls School, where I just was last week, that there is one counselor for every 3,000 students. Is that accurate?
Yes. Currently in Gaza, we have one counsellor for 3,000 students. It's obviously not enough. We have received some support to do things such as an aftercare program for about 30,000 students. And we also received some emergency funding, and we're going to run summer fun weeks this year. So 120,000 children will get access to essentially, a week of summer camp, art, craft, music, jumping castles. So it should be great fun, but it's also underpinned is really an approach to mental health. And there are counsellors on site. They're going to run some group counselling sessions and also some individual counselling sessions. Now, we're trying to do as much as we can in this regard, but we're not dealing with an average school population. We're dealing with a school population, a group of young people who've been traumatised by conflict, and any support that we can get from your community, the UNRWA USA community, to support these mental health programs in Gaza goes a long way, and has a big impact with the children in Gaza.
Well, on that note, I'm really happy to say that we're going to be taking our Gaza 5K fundraiser event, and we're going to bring it to the Bay Area in California in October. And Thomas, we're trying to entice you to come out there too. We have a number of events we're going to be planning around the 5K, and this is a moment where Americans actually can engage with us, have a great day with the community, out and about, get some exercise, help their own mental health, and then also really help us raise funds for the children who are in great need of mental health support, as Thomas has just described, in Gaza. So we're grateful for all of the Americans who've already supported the Gaza 5K and will continue to do so this year. And in San Francisco for the first time, San Francisco Bay Area for the first time in a long while. And I can also say that I heard about the summer fun weeks when I was out in Gaza last week, and the name almost belies how essential these camps are, these week camps are within the schools. One, it's, as we've discussed, it's a safe, happy haven inside of these UNRWA schools, but also being in Gaza myself, seeing that there are so few places where children can be outside and have space to run and play. And even the seashore, there's polluted areas, there's areas that aren't safe. And sometimes what I understand, Thomas, is that the schools are some of the only places where children can actually play games and be children. Is that your experience as well?
Look, no, that's definitely the case, Mara. The UNRWA schools are really a haven in which children can be children, and particularly for those families who are living in what are known, the camps, which are some of the most, densely populated and poorest parts of Gaza. The only open area is the school. Otherwise they're playing in the alleyways of the camp, and so opening up the schools in summer is going to be really important for those children. We've also got a range of activities, including a greening initiative. So children are going to start planting trees in their schools, in the community as well. I mean, So it's about not only coming into the school and having some fun, but it's also looking at issues around, civic pride and how they contribute back to their community as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. And, we've talked a lot about the difficulties in Gaza, but one thing I know you're keen to mention, and I saw for myself, is how inspirational the young people are in Gaza. I had the opportunity to visit the IT center that UNRWA administers right close to your headquarters in Gaza City. And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that center and what gives you hope for the future of Gaza, and tell us more about the young people and some of the stories you've told me and others that you've spoken to personally.
Well, look, I think this is one of the another case of this massive contrast. Gaza is suffering from this economic blockade, and really, the opportunities for young people are very, very limited. Yet, on the other hand, you just see this enormous enthusiasm and drive to get educated. And a searching out for where the opportunities are. And I think that IT is one of those areas where young Gazans can actually access the global economy. They can't travel out of Gaza, they can't go abroad for work, but they can work from Gaza in an international context and be connecting with businesses around the globe. And so there are a range of organisations and some small private sector firms and lots of young individual Gazans freelancing in the IT sector and engaging with work outside of Gaza. As UNRWA, we would really like to help, as part of the community, build this part of the economy and provide those opportunities for young people. Over the last year or so, we have built up a facility in our headquarters in Gaza, which is now providing coding support and software support for other UN agencies. So this centre holds contracts, for example, with the World Health Organization, World Food Programme, to do some of their software support.
Wow.
This has already created 120 jobs in Gaza, real jobs, cutting edge use of software technology, but most importantly, these jobs didn't exist before. Now, what more can we do to promote that? So we'd like to combine that sort of innovation, that sort of business with other partners who are trying to freelance, trying to build contacts and contracts outside of Gaza. But we also have a large training facility in Gaza City. And I think there's enormous potential in terms of upgrading not only the computer labs that we're using, but also the technology, the software that students are being instructed on, so that they can walk directly from our college and be connected with global businesses who want their skills. And so I think we're pulling together some ideas now that I'd love to be able to share with your members in the coming months.
That sounds great. There are so many projects for those listening that we are keen to share with you. So many really important projects that can help get Gazans to work and get an income. Understanding the difficult environment they're in. And I have to say, just anecdotally, having been at the center and then also seeing the community college and the technical training college right next door, the number of women may have surpassed the number of men who are either working on computers, working at the center, or studying computer science. And some of the women I met were some of the brightest I've met probably anywhere. So it's just wonderful to see the engagement of young women in these activities as well as young men. So finally, just one last question, because I know you've got to move on to some really important meetings with some lawmakers. And actually, on that very note, how can we in the US, whether our government or the American people, how can we better support the work you've just described in Gaza that is utterly essential for this population?
Thanks, Mara. Look, I mean, beyond the obvious financial contribution, which obviously is very well received, and I can assure you is put to good use in Gaza and across the region. But, it's also political support for the work of UNRWA. We are such a vital part of promoting the health, the education, the well-being of a highly marginalised population in the Middle East. We also, are promoting stability within the region. Any support or any interaction you have with your own lawmakers, please emphasise the importance of UNRWA in providing that vital education and healthcare to Palestine refugees, but also providing the foundations for a hopefully a more prosperous and peaceful future for Palestinians.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your important work and expertise with us, Thomas. We appreciate the time you took today to educate and inform us about the conditions in Gaza and UNRWA's work there. I'd like to take this final moment to remind all those watching to take action, as Thomas said, to take political action in the sense of supporting, of writing to your congressman or congresswoman, and talking about how important the support for UNRWA is by the US government. The support that's essential for the well-being of Palestinian refugees until there's a just solution to their plight. You can do so through accessing our website, and you can also donate, of course, directly, which we would most appreciate, at UNRWAUSA.org. That's UNRWAUSA.org. Thomas, thank you again, and thanks to all of your staff and all that you have done to support Palestinian refugees in Gaza, and thanks to all those who tuned in. Please make sure to follow UNRWA USA on our social media handles, appearing now on my screen team. I think my team's going to put them up there. And stay tuned for our upcoming news. Have a great rest of your week in the US, Thomas, and inshallah, I'll see you back in Gaza soon.
Thanks very much, Mara, and I'll take all of your wishes and the wishes of your members back to our team in Gaza. Thank you very much.
Yatik al-afiyah. Thank you.